Hey, welcome to 10 with Tom. I'm not Tom, I'm Paul, but we're going to spend 10 minutes talking about how coffee can teach us a lot about how to live life well. Now, if this intro to that scared you a little bit because you don't like coffee, don't worry. You don't need to love coffee like I love coffee. Just to let you know, I genuinely do love coffee. But if you don't, what I hope you'll discover today is some truth that can help you live well, but also how to make some good coffee. You may not care about that, but hopefully you'll stick around for the video. You see, one of the things about coffee is it's this immensely complex thing. The coffee beans are roasted and they go through this whole long process. But part of what happens when coffee gets roasted is that it has gases stored up inside of it that naturally happen as it gets burnt. And so if you want to make coffee that tastes good, that tastes awesome, if you're going to make coffee like this, and I know this sounds crazy, but this is how I make coffee at home every day. This is how I do it. And you're thinking to yourself, what a waste of time. And you probably are right, if I'm honest with you. But this is how I make coffee. And part of what you want to do when you are making coffee at home to make it well, when you've got freshly roasted coffee beans, is a thing called blooming. Now, what blooming is you, in essence, start by pouring a little bit of water in right up front. Just a little bit of water straight away. And really what you're trying to do in this first few seconds as you pour in just an equal amount of water to the coffee that you have there is you want to do a thing called blooming. And blooming is in essence this idea that coffee has CO2 naturally stored inside of it. But CO2 is actually something that holds back flavor from when you're trying to enjoy coffee. The CO2 chemical inside coffee actually stops the water interacting with the coffee and stops you experiencing the best flavor and the most that the beans have to offer. And again, maybe you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's fine. Stick around with me for a second. But basically what happens is, as you pour the water over first, because it's the first thing that you do, as you pour the water over first, the water gives an opportunity for the CO2 to be released, and then the CO2 being released creates space for the water to interact with the coffee, and that gives you the most flavor possible. You see, I think the truth is that so much of our lives, so much of the things that are in our lives, they have the potential for incredible good, and at the same time, bad. There's so much in the world around us that has good in it and has the opportunity for us to experience a flourishing life and a life that we enjoy and that we get to experience the richness and flavor of it all. But so often those very things also hold things that can hold us back, that can maybe even hurt us. So for example, let's say your work. Your work should be a place that you thrive and you flourish and you get to be a part of what God's calling you to do in the world, or maybe just a place that you really enjoy being. But the truth is, so often work can be a place that we spend too much time. I know that I'm challenged by that, even in the line of work that I do. Maybe you are too. Work can be a place where I give all my emotional energy to it, and then I come home and I've got nothing to give to the people that matter most. The truth is that if we're going to work and work well, we need to prioritize. We need to put first things first. We need to realize that the very thing that has good in it also has the potential for bad. Maybe let's talk about your talents, the things that you're naturally good at. You may be good at a variety of things. Personally, I'm still trying to figure out what that is. I know coffee is one of the things that I'm good at and I'm learning, right? Kerry, who's over here, she's just talented at makeup. Like she's really good. No, anyway, the point is that there are things that you're naturally good at. And yet sometimes the things that you're naturally good at can also be the things that hold you back the most. You're striving for perfection, you're striving for excellence, and there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes that very desire for perfection, for excellence, can also hold you back. What you've got to do is learn how to set your priorities, to set what you're going to do first, to set what you want to be about as a person before you get to the activity of your personhood. Maybe it's the same as relationships. All relationships have the opportunity for life. We're created for relationships to engage and interact with one another. The relationships are meant to be how we grow as human beings, how we find joy and experience the very best of life is in relationships. But I think you, like me, have experienced that sometimes the relationships we're in drain us. They hold us back. They keep us from experiencing the best that life has to offer sometimes. The truth that I've discovered in my own life is that, man, I've got to have certain relationships that I prioritize. My wife, my kids, my close friends. For me as a follower of Jesus, it's my close community that seeks to hold me to something higher. A group of people that I go to first, that hold me accountable, that call me to more. You see, I think if we're going to experience all that life has to offer for us, and the richness and the fullness that life has to offer for us, we've got to learn how to make sure that we do the right things first. And what's interesting about God and how God interacts with us as human beings is he knows that this is true because he created us that way. He realizes that the very things he's given us have the opportunity to hold us back. And so there's certain things that God invites us to do first. I think prayer is something that God invites us to do first. Before we look at our problems, before we look and complain, before we get overwhelmed and anxious, before we are scared for our money and our country's future, before there's all the stuff, right? Let's first pray. Let's first go to God and say, God, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I have. And as you do that, as you pour the water over, if you will, you'll be able to release some of the things that are holding you back. Your anxiety, your worry, your fear. Get that stuff off. Go first to God in prayer and then experience the richness of life and all that is there. I think one of the things that kind of speaks to me about that is out of Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will first in all that you do, and he will show you his plans and they will help you prosper. Go first to him with your life, with your plans. I think one of the other things that I try and prioritize is time together with people in church. If you're a follower of Jesus, it's why we kind of say we start the week by gathering together in person, online, in church. It sets the tone of our week because our weeks have so much potential for good, but if we don't get the priority right, if we don't first release some of the stuff we're holding on, we're not going to experience all that life has to offer, I think. Can I challenge you on one quick? Your money. Maybe you're like, hey, don't speak to me about that. Don't go there. But man, money has the potential for so much joy. Money has the potential for all the goodness I think that life can offer us in so many different ways, for experiences and wonder and good. But for me, man, money is a thing that causes me anxiety and worry and fear. And what I've discovered is that when God invites me to go to him first with my money, and for me, that's super practical. That means I give first to him when I get paid. When I do that, I pour the water over a little and I release all the negative things that hold me back, all the fears and worries. I release that when I go to him first so that I can experience all that life has to offer, all that what he's given me has to offer. I can be generous. I can enjoy what I have. I'm less anxious, less worried when I go to him first. See, I'm not sure what area of life you're finding is holding you back, but here's what I do know. If you can go to God first with that thing, he'll allow you to pour the water over it a little. And in so doing, you get to release what's holding you back. And as a result of that, experience life and life in all the fullness. I hope you know this has nothing to do with coffee. I hope you get to make good coffee. I really do. But what's true about life is that so much has so much to offer if we go to him first. But for now, I'm going to give this to Kerry. Here we go. She doesn't drink coffee, but I'm going to make her drink it. Thanks for joining us, 10 with Tom. Hope you have a great week. And she can't drink coffee. This is amazing. Another one for Dave. Dave, our cameraman. Come on, Dave. Here we go. Check this out. Oh, this is going to be majestic. It's cold, lovely.